Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Louis Amistoy, the host of the Bako Motorsports Power Hour, brought to you by the Bakersfield Californian. This is our weekly conversation about all things motorsports, and I'm joined now by the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend.
I would not be anywhere else.
The Grumpy Griff.
Not grumpy today.
You're out for like 2 weeks after this, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks, maybe 3, maybe 4.
Maybe a month.
Maybe
who knows?
Month or 2.
At this point. Mike is getting ready. Your daughter's graduating from college.
All right, University of Idaho,
So
Saturday the 16th.
So you're going to be in Moscow.
Moscow,
I
Idaho.
knew you were a red.
Moscow, Idaho, Pullman, Washington.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Well, we got a great show for you today. A lot to discuss, and it's going to be fun. We're going to announce our driver of the week, which I think is going to be a guy who drives around in circles.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Probably drives a orange car.
Orange car. And he's actually not from Bakersfield. He's from another part of the world. I'm not sure where.
Yeah, somewhere kind of closer to the mountains.
Yeah. It is part of the
northeast of Bakersfield.
It is part of the Kern Community College District. So
there we go.
So it kind of qualifies. The show number 11, by the way, and this show is brought to you by Bakersfield Californian. We've been covering race since the beginning. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Racing Covered Right. I put that up there for Blake Bowser.
I know you love these VWs. They're pretty fun.
You know what's funny is that photo doesn't really – I didn't do a good job of moving that photo over because the tire – you can see it a little bit in the corner there. The tires on that thing just pounding on that.
Yeah,
and I grew – that was my first car. It was a 1968 Volkswagen Bug. And to think that they raced.
Well, one of my friends in high school had around a 68 Volkswagen Bug that we hopped up quite a bit. I remember there was a VW shop, parts shop in Farmersville. So we'd be always running up to Farmersville to get parts to soup up the old VW.
I used to have that problem with the Volkswagen where the clutch or the accelerator cable would break.
Yeah.
And I actually always had a pair of pliers because you could pull it out and you could still drive, you know? I mean, it was just
those
unbelievable.
Are classics.
I got pretty good at changing those things out. That's my only mechanical thing that we got there. Okay, so by the way, the Grumpy Griff is coming up later today, and this is turned into be quite the honor.
Oh yeah. I would want one.
David Mayhew and Derek Thorne, they both want one. They have not won one yet.
No, Derek Thorne.
You know who
Derek
asked
Thorne
me?
won
Technically, he's won it, but we haven't given him. Since we implemented the Grumpy Griff, we haven't given him one. He's run driver of the week. The Bakersfield Condors want to see if we can extend the program into the 2015-2016 season for them next year.
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, it would be tough to find a Grumpy Griff and Grumpy Bardo award. It'd be kind of a co-grump award.
This next slide, by the way, needs no explanation. Just trust us. It's funny. All right, move on.
That looks like my boss.
Yeah, move on. Okay, Northern Invasion. We're going to start off things with the local angle today. Usually we talk about Kevin Harvick, what he's been up to. He's kind of Talladega was exciting for the Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans, but we're going to talk about the guys from Bakersfield who went up to Hanford on Friday night last week, and they just dominated in the modified and the sport mod classes. Yeah. And we'll show a couple of images we got from Tom Mock. And first off, Robbie Sawyer winning in modifieds, and then the next slide, we have Ricky Childress, who won in Sport Mod. Basically, we'll go through some of the results here. Go to the next.
I'm impressed with the 5150.
They got to figure it out. 5150 girls got to figure it out. Yeah. Robbie Sawyer in the modifieds, he beats Kyle Griffith, Jeff Streeter in third, and Chad Reichenbach was in fourth. So those guys, all three of those four guys are Bakersfield guys, right?
Right.
And then in Sport Mod, look at this group here. You got Ricky Childress Jr., Nick Spain-Howard, Fred Ryland, Gary Dutton, and Cruz Griffith in your top five. The modified class, looked like they had some problems because there was only four finishers.
Yeah, only four finishers. I don't know what happened up there. So obviously,
Ethan Dotson was in the race and did not finish the race.
Yeah, probably some breakage and probably a bit of wrecking.
A
little wreckage.
Have you ever been up to that? The Kings. I guess they call it now the Keller. They call it the Keller Auto Speedway.
I've been to Kings Speedway.
How does it rate? How does it rate in your opinion?
It's fine. I've been there once. I don't know if it's got it. You know, there is no wall.
Oh, really?
You can go over the track.
You can go
over the backstretch of turn 3. You can actually go off the track.
Yeah.
And if you didn't damage it, come back on. You kind of go up and over.
It'd be kind of fun to, I think I've been to Paris and I've been to San Bernardino, Orange Show.
Yeah.
I've never been to Irwindale. I don't know what else is out there. There's Verona now, I think, has one down in San Diego.
I don't know down in San Diego.
Yeah.
I know you got Ventura, San Maria, Tulare, Hanford.
Yeah. Watsonville.
Watsonville. I've never been up to Watsonville.
Maybe we should take a road trip.
That's a long road trip.
All right, let's talk about Kevin Harvick and the Talladega 500. Did you watch that, by the way, Mr. Griffith?
Yes, I did. I watched it in my favorite way.
You watched it in fast forward.
I watched it in fast forward. I was out doing stuff, and you know what? I'm glad I didn't waste a lot of my life. I mean, it's okay.
This is what you saw a lot of right here, was this.
At the end, I was kind of surprised. At the end, where a single line formed and the inside didn't work, and it was follow the leader to the finish line. I was really kind of surprised about that. The racing was generally clean. I mean, obviously there were a couple of the Talladega wrecks, but
there was a big wreck early on. Harvick got caught up in the
he got caught up in that first one a little bit, just on the right front. Obviously didn't. They got that car fixed pretty well.
Yeah.
To run up front. But in case he got caught up on the last one.
Right.
And we'll talk. It was crashing from about 7.
Was that his fault or?
No, I think he just got swept up in it.
Yeah. Initially, I thought they called it his. I have a comment from him about that here in a moment. But let's go ahead and go through the rest of this. And so, Harvick finished 8th at Richmond, continuing his. I mean, really, he's in the hunt every single time. And he started 24th, I think, in this race coming in. He was in P24 when he coming into this thing and finishing 8th. It was in contention at times and kind of just fell back. He's there. Every race he's there.
Yeah, even with the damage, he's there. And at Talladega, a lot of people love it. I'm not a huge fan of restrictor plate racing. Mm-hmm. It's different.
Right.
It's close. I mean, everybody's close. But I'm not a huge fan of big track racing either in stock cars.
Casey Mears, a huge disappointing day for him because he was poised to be in the top 10. It was right there in the hunt and got caught up in that accident. So he finishes 28th. He does move up in the Sprint Cup standings. He was 23rd coming in, moves up to 21st. I think because so many of the leaders got knocked out of that.
And he was running right there, that 11th for a long time,
Yeah.
10th, 11th, 12th. And so that he lost a lot of points.
Well, he made there was a huge gap. There was like a breakaway of the top 9 guys, and then he was chasing, and it was right there too, and they just never, got caught up in that crash. And here is what Casey Mears said about that. We had something for them there at the end, but unfortunately got caught up on the final lap. It was almost as if Clint thought he was clear and made the move high. My nose was about his door, and there was no room, so neither one of us could escape it once contact was made. It wasn't the finish we wanted, but we were strong all day, and we've been fortunate to finish most of the restrictor plate races well over the years. So it's hard to get too upset when this happens. We've been lucky to come home clean from these things most of the time.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with restrictor plate racing, and it's a crapshoot. Mm-hmm. There's going to be wrecks. You might get caught up in them, you might not. A lot of it, there's just, as he said,
right,
stuff happens.
All right, let's take a look. Now, this is the rest of the series. The SpongeBob 400, by the way, is the Sprint Cup Series race in Kansas.
A Saturday night race.
Yeah.
Probably my least favorite track.
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe it's Mid-America. Maybe it's Kansas.
Maybe it's Kansas. Well, you have some Missouri
Sorry about
roots.
that, John.
Yeah. I think
former Condors equipment manager lives in Kansas.
I think our
City.
sports editor Zach Ewing would probably agree with you on Kansas.
He probably would.
All right, so then they have this little 2-week deal in Charlotte where they have the Sprint Showdown on the 15th, and they have the All-Star Race on the 16th. The 24th is the Coca-Cola 600, and then they go to Dover on the 31st to finish the month out. It's hard to believe we're almost toward. I mean, this is like May just started. We're talking about the end of it. But get really into the heavy racing season here going into the summer. And let's take a look now at the Xfinity Series. And Ryan Reed, 32nd place, got caught up in another crash.
Totally not his doing.
Yeah,
I did see that one.
Really frustrated. I know he was frustrated. Here's what he had to say about that. It was frustrating. I knew getting to pit road there was going to be a fiasco. And the team told me, quote, you know what, you got plenty of fuel, just bail out of there. But people just tried to force the issue and make something happen when they didn't need to, and I got caught up in someone else's mistake.
Yeah, basically what happened there, he was on the high groove right up next to the wall going around pit entrance, There's some cars coming down to pit lane, and then somebody who was in the middle groove decided he was going to go to pit lane, hit somebody, and that turned that car completely, almost 180 back toward the wall, swept up into the Ryan, caught some other guys, and just ridiculous. You don't make that move on a super speedway, and it cost some guys a good finish.
It's interesting, he's still holding up in 8th place in the series, even though he's had a couple of rough spots here. He's the only winner from the Xfinity Series to win the season, who's a regular on that tour. What do you think it's going to be for him for the rest of the way out?
I don't know. It's tough to tell. This is another, obviously another learning year. Like I've said, he's got far less stock car experience than most people he's racing. And I always compare him to Chris Buescher and his teammate Sadler and I think Wallace. So kind of see how those guys are doing and how the Roush cars are doing. The Roush cars were all running well.
Right.
At Talladega. They were all up there. So Roush has that aero package in the restrictor plate stuff figured out pretty well. Still don't quite have the 1.5 mile track stuff figured out.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more. We have Kern County Raceway Park coming up next in our next segment. After that, we'll have Bakersfield Speedway, and we finish out with Auto Club Famoso Raceway. They get ready for their street racing this weekend here at Auto Club Famoso Raceway. We'll have Steve Hughes talking about their big night last week. And at noon, we will announce the driver of the week. We suspect it's somebody from the town that starts with a P.
It's near Lindsay.
Is it?
Near the olive capital of the world.
A lot of olives over there, huh?
Yeah.
What is that town known for? Do they have some kind of agriculture?
Porterville?
Yeah. You just said it.
I've done a lot of bass fishing at Lake Success back in the day.
Interesting. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back with more here on the Bako Motorsports Power Hour.